but this is when you put your hand in. Put my hand in. This is what my pocket bag is already taking shape. See what it looks like by the time we flip it in. Okay, so we are going to get started with sewing our pocket, inserting our pocket. So I have one piece of my pocket here, and I'm starting with my front piece. So I have my pocket and I have my notches. So I'm going to match my notches on my pockets to my notches on my skirt front. So match it, pin it down. And so what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to sew from, remember I have one notch here and I have like a 6.5 inch pocket opening, right? Remember that's what we did. Our pocket opening was 6.5 inch. So I'm going to sew from my notch here. So I'm going to sew this way. I'm going to sew half an inch. It's half an inch seam allowance. Go like this, then come like this, then close up like this. So let's do that quickly. So our seam allowance is half an inch. Let me mark half an inch quickly. An inch. So I'm going to flip my garment like this, sew from the edge down to the half inch, back tap, stop just at the half inch, pivot my garment like this. I'm going to remove this pin, then continue sewing using half an inch seam allowance. So I'm going to sew all the way down to the second notch, and I will stop there. Back, stop there, then pivot again and sew to the end, back tack, and we're done. After doing that, you will take it this way. What I'm going to do now is that I'm going to, let me see, the corners, we went in like this, we pivoted, we came down, pivoted. So those corners, I'm going to make a slash line in there. So I'm going to slash 45-degree angle slash into those corners there. Very close, you're not cutting through the stitch line. So come down to this other side, angle my scissors 45 degrees, slash close enough to the seam, to the stitch line. Okay, then what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to understitch. So I'm going to flip my, this is the body of my skirt, this is my pocket. So I'm going to understitch. You can refer to the different terms, sewing terms video for what an understitch is. So I'm going to flip my pocket to this side. I'm going to flip this seam allowance to facing my pocket, right? And I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to understitch. So 1/16 of an inch all the way down. This is what the understitching looks like. This is what it looks like on the inside. So after you're done understitching, you flip your garment this way, and you have the option to edge stitch or not. For me personally, for this project, I do not want to edge stitch. So what I want to show you what I mean by edge stitching quickly. So you flip your garment to the right side like this. Your pocket is in there, and then you take your garment to the machine, and then you edge stitch from the edge in by 1/16 of an inch, and then you just go around like this. If you want that design detail. For me personally, I don't want that. I want to keep this clean and plain, so I'm not going to be edge stitching, but you can do that if you want to, and you can also refer to the sewing terms video if you want to know more about edge stitching. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take my second pocket bag, and I'm going to match it right sides together, and I'm also going to be matching the notches. So this is my second pocket bag. I'm going to match it with this one, and I see my notch over here. Actually, the notch is this way. This fabric is kind of confusing. You don't really know the right side from the wrong side, but yeah, so I have my notches matching here. I'm just going to pin, and what we're going to do is we're going to sew round the pocket bag like this, stopping here, stopping here, stopping at this notch here. I have another notch here, so I'm going to sew round like this by 1/2 inch. After you're done sewing, you serge it. You take it to your serging machine, and then you serge it just to finish it. If you don't have a serger, you can use your pinking shears to finish it as well. This is what it looks like. I'm going to go to my serging machine, and I'm going to serge. But this is when you put your hand in. I put my hand in. This is what my pocket bag is already taking shape. This is what it looks like by the time we flip it in. By the time we flip it in, this is what our pocket bag is already looking like. So we're still going to, after serging, I'm going to now sew the back to the front. So I've gone to serge our pocket. So this is what the pocket looks like. I've serged it. I've sewn the other side of our pocket. The next step now is to flip our front skirt to the right side, to the right side like this. And then I'll take my back piece. So I've sewn my zipper to my back piece. So my back piece is 1. So I'm going to match the front and back right sides together. Go to the machine and sew from the waistline all the way down to our hem, using 1/2 inch seam allowance. 1/2 inch seam allowance. I know when we were drafting, we used I added 1 inch. That's what I showed you, but off camera I removed 1/2 inch from the side seam allowance, and made my seam allowance 1/2 inch. So I'm going to sew 1/2 inch seam allowance from my waistline all the way down to my hem, and that would finalize our pocket.